Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for a special episode of The Way It's Told. I'm Christen Gibson, your host from the Eastern Progress. We have two guests today on the show, and we have Trent Dolter and Jackson Morgan. Thank you for being here today, guys.
No problem, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. So where are you from, Trent? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from Crystal Lake, Illinois, so a bit of a far drive from here. I am currently sophomore year-wise, junior credit-wise. I'm going for hopefully a doctorate in psychology. Haven't decided on a specific concentration yet, but we're hopefully getting there by the end of the week.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, a little bit more about me. I joined Phi Kappa as soon as I got here at EKU in 2020, and I was almost immediately put in the philanthropy chair position, so this upcoming fall will be my second year in a row holding it.
Great. Now, Jackson, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm actually from a small town in Knott County, Kentucky. It's called Emelina. It's in the southeastern part of the state. I'm currently 20 years old. I'm one of the younger chapter presidents that ever be a part of the organization. The way I got the position, I was the event coordinator prior, and then I just worked my way up and, earned my spot. I joined the fraternity because when I came to campus, where I came from such a rural area, I didn't know many people here. So as a result, I really wanted to get that social aspect out of the group as well as make some really good friends. And as a result, I definitely have.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about that, about the relationships that you build within the fraternity.
So when you first join, you have your associate class. Some people call that a pledge class, but we actually like to call it associates so it doesn't, because the word pledge typically has some negative connotation, especially on the global, viewpoint. But anyways, you actually have a class when you go in and you're an associate member, and you actually have to take a course before you become an initiated member. And in that, you make plenty of friends. You get to have a really good time with your guys. Actually, we have a retreat coming up in Gatlinburg, actually, and they get to go to their own cabin. They get to have a good time. They get to do whatever they want. Nice, comfy beds. Plenty of free food, all that good stuff. So they get to have a great time, of course.
Anything a college student would need, right?
Of course, exactly, all you want.
Yeah, so tell us about that course that you take. What does that involve?
So it's called it's through the membership orientation officer, which shout out to John Cromer if you're watching this. So he essentially teaches them about our cardinal principles and what we're all about and what we want to do. As Trent is the philanthropy chair, one of our strongest suits is actually philanthropy. And we really want to focus on community participation, really bringing everybody up together and raising plenty of money for charity.
Yeah.
So all those principles are talked about in that course, as well as our founding date and our founding fathers and all of the lessons that they taught throughout those years.
Now, this podcast is about people and their passions, the way that they live that in their lives. You guys are doing that through your philanthropy, right?
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that, Trent. I know that's your specialty.
Of course. So our philanthropy, for a fraternity, it's Serious Fun, which is basically a children's network for kids who have physical disabilities. They get to go to a sort of summer camp for, I want to say, a few weeks or maybe the entire summer, depending on the different camp location. And what they get to do is they basically get to have that normal summer camp experience. Because some of these, if they're in a wheelchair or something like that, that can be pretty debilitating. You can kind of feel left out. Personally, for myself, I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was in 4th grade, so I never really did a lot of sports growing up. And when you're younger, that's kind of where everyone gets the bond. So I never really got that experience. What we do is we provide that experience to people, and it's a pretty expensive thing too. And giving the parents able to it's a lot of work taking care of someone like that. So sometimes parents need a break, and what Serious Fun does, it provides that break while also providing a really nice summer experience for them.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about philanthropy. What does that mean for people that aren't really experienced in Greek life?
So basically what I would say philanthropy is, it's the act of fundraising for a specific organization or your own Greek organization for the purposes of raising money for other stuff. So basically what philanthropy is, think about it as volunteering combined with fundraising. You can't really just fundraise, because we do a little bit of that where we just post a website like, hey, if you can donate here, that would be great. What separates philanthropy is the idea that you're doing something fun in the process to get the community involved.
That's great. And you guys have been really involved. Tell us, I know we've talked previously a little bit. You guys raised a lot of money so far since the beginning of fall 2021, correct?
Yes.
Tell us how much money you've raised and what you've done to get there.
So far this semester, I believe we've raised about $3,500 so far, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of that was just personal stuff brothers did over the winter break. I'm a volunteer Santa, actually, and I take a lot of pride in that work.
How fun.
But yeah, I helped the Salvation Army raise about $2,500, I want to say.
Great.
But yeah, a lot of the work this semester so far has been over the summer stuff, because what we're doing is we're saving a lot of our time and efforts for some future events we have coming up planned here, which I'd love to talk about.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
So what we got coming up here, the big one we have coming up, I want to say it's April 16th, is that
Yes,
sound
sir.
right? That's our Serious Fun Car Show, where we're getting the whole city of Richmond involved. We have people coming from all over the country. We're really hoping to get a lot of people out for the car show. And what it's going to do is we're going to sell, obviously, regular car show stuff. People are going to show off their cars. There's going to be rewards and all that. But we're hoping to sell a bunch of our own merchandise there. We're hoping to also, get a bunch of food trucks out there, get the whole community involved as much as we can. I know we were even considering live music, which, it's still in the very, very early stages of planning right now. We're hoping to get it kind of all finalized by mid-March.
Great.
But yeah, all proceeds are going to go to the Serious Fun Children's Network. And I know a lot of our alumni are coming in, and I'm really excited to get to meet all those guys and see them all again.
That sounds like a lot of planning has to go involved with that. Tell us what that looks like for you guys as active members and your entire fraternity.
You want to go first?
Yeah. So obviously with Philanthropy, it's a lot of planning. So I can't say I do it all myself. I have a lovely group of guys that back me up. For this event in particular, I have a committee of 5 very amazing active brothers. And it's hard balancing all that with a full-time student. I know a lot of us have full-time jobs as well, because college ain't cheap these days. Yeah. But it's a lot of planning, but we meet weekly. We also have weekly fraternity meetings with the whole chapter. I be with my committee at least once a week. It is a lot of planning, because it's a lot of those skills they don't teach you in school, like being able to go call various organizations, kind of go, I don't want to say solicit and all that, but go, kind of pester, be like, hey, this is a project for the community. We'd like you guys to help us out. It's a lot of stuff they don't teach you, and I want to say it's a little hard to learn on the fly, because I got thrown in my position right away, but luckily I have some past experience with volunteering. But for a lot of the newer guys in the committee and in the chapter in general, that's the kind of life skills we're trying to teach him, is here's how to basically be an adult without calling it that.
That's great. Have you had anybody really influence you to kind of make those choices that's led you to and inspired you to do all this work?
Yeah, I'd actually like to say probably my mom and dad. 2 things they've always really instilled with me is, you grew up in a pretty fortunate lifestyle, and, it is kind of like you don't have a duty to do it, but you should give back where you can. And, I grew up with, some of my own disabilities. I have an older brother with a pretty severe learning disability as well. And I've always learned, people who aren't as fortunate as you should try and give back as much as you can.
It's great that you've taken your own experience and applied that to your life. And I think people that does have experience and are passionate, it's those people that really pull from those experiences. Tell us a little bit about your experiences and how you're using that in your fraternity and your role there.
So I would definitely give some attributions to my mom and dad and my grandma. My grandma was, a teacher for like 30 years, in a grade school. So she's been working with children and, ones with disabilities or exceptional learners. As a result, I have a really strong passion to really, give back to those folk and give back to the community in general. In terms of my job, I really just delegate processes and stuff. I'm much more of, the overseer of everything. So I don't get to have as much fun, obviously, as Trent might get to in planning all the stuff. But I do get the fun of having to make sure everything's going right, everything's clicking. So yeah, that really is what I do for the most part.
So tell us about your goals. I think I've talked to you prior, and you guys have a pretty large number you're shooting for. Tell us about that.
So I have brought this up with my chapter before, and we're always we want to set reasonable goals, but I'm always kind of like the high shooter here. So I'm hoping to raise $15,000 this semester.
$15,000?
Yes, it's a bit of a hefty goal. This car show has been reasonably successful in the past, and that's when we were a smaller, lesser known chapter. Whereas when we just chartered last semester, we're kind of getting our social contacts out there more. We have just more manpower and more resources to work with. Hopefully our nationals are going to be supporting us through all this, but I'm hoping to raise $15,000. I think it's a very doable goal, considering, now that we have these resources, we definitely need to be utilizing them.
Yeah, and you're already a little bit on track for that.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
That looks great. Now tell us a little bit about the Interfraternal Council.
So believe it or not, we're talking about ourselves, but we're not the only people that raise money on campus. There's plenty of other groups, sororities, fraternities. that all raise money to the specific philanthropy. The IFC, or the Interfraternal Council, is the group of 13 chapters on campus that are fraternities. And we get together almost every Monday and we talk about what's going on, things to do for the week. And right now, our goal, at least, is to really bring Greek life together as a whole. There's been quite a bit of division in terms of, different groups, beef, if you would like to call it, different little squabbles and stuff. So we're trying to get everybody together, because when you bring everybody together, the only thing you can do is raise more money and provide, more community service. And that's really the main goal.
That's great. Is there any other chapters you've kind of been with throughout this to kind of help raise money?
Absolutely. So we haven't had a joint philanthropy as of yet. We're looking to have one in the works, and that will be for Trent to talk about. But I know that we've got donations from Teak, from I think Tau Kappa Epsilon, is that the right one? And then Theta Chi, and then I believe we've had some donations from Sigma Pi as well. And that doesn't, those are just the ones I can name. I'm sure that more people have donated.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, you guys had a highway cleanup, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how much money you can raise by doing projects like that.
So this project was actually done in coordination with Habitat for Humanity. It was a big project for the Winchester community because they recently lost a volunteer that was working with Habitat for, I believe, 20 years.
Wow.
I've personally never met him, but I know he was a very active member of the community, and my Habitat contact, Hope, she was also very adamant, this guy was really important to our organization, and that's when I decided that I wanted to get as much of Greek life involved as we could with this big highway cleanup project. So we actually had members from Pike, I don't know their official Greek name, and then Theta, as well as KDT. They all came out to help out with this highway cleanup, and for every mile of road we cleaned, we were going to raise about $100.
Oh wow!
So our groups ended up, raising, I want to say 1 in 16 or
1650.
yes, 1650. Numbers, what can I say? Too many of them these days. You ended up raising 1650, which was a little under the goal we wanted, but also, with volunteer events, one of the big things that I cannot stress enough is you always have to lower your expectations a little bit when it comes to show out. And I know our group isn't the only one that struggles with this because, things come up, people have plans and those plans will just get sidetracked. So we were a little under our goal, but, we're still a lot of money raised with Habitat, and they were very happy to have us out, obviously, because it's a good way to commemorate, am I saying that right? Yes. Good way to commend the life of someone who committed themselves to service. It's a good way to kind of show, what you did wasn't in vain. The younger generations, like Greek life and all that, we're going to try and take up the mantle when, people like that are gone.
That's a great task to take on. I'm very impressed. Now, tell us a little bit how you get involved. Do you have to be a part of the organization to take part of these community events that's raising money?
So I would first of all like to say absolutely not. As long as there is a fundraiser on campus for any group, Phi Tau, Theta, Sig Pi, whatever group it is, you can always go up to their little donation booth or whatever it is, depends on the event. I want to say a few weeks ago we had a Fry Tau event where we actually grilled out Oreos, Twinkies, things like that. And anyway, it's a pretty cheap, reasonable way to help out. As a community service wise, it also depends on, the event. We have a big philanthropy event with Delta Zeta coming up, and obviously the volunteer restrictions are going to be towards our groups. We're going to be the ones volunteering to run the show, but of course anyone can sign up for these events. We usually post it all over our Instagram, what do you know the name off the top of our head of the Instagram?
I think it's PKT_Delta Rho.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We usually post all of our updates on our Instagram. All the guys always are posting on all their social media saying, hey, we have this event here. Usually, I want to say it's usually in some sort of Greek newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are definitely ways you can get involved. And it's not just with us again. All the groups are doing it all the time. If you look on any social media at any given time, I guarantee you it's easy to find at least 1 or 2 events going on in Greek life.
That's wonderful. Now, tell us, how do you be a part of your fraternity? If someone out there is watching this and says, hey, I want to be a part of that, something bigger than myself.
You want me to take that?
Yeah, you take that one.
So we went through spring rush or the spring recruitment, and that's a good way to just get in a formal kind of, getting into any kind of group, and that's for any of the fraternities. But we actually do 365-day bids. So if you meet the GPA requirement of 2.7, I think, and you're a respectable guy and you are a man of character. That's what our tagline is almost. turning men of character into men of distinction. So, as long as you're a man of character and you've got that 2.7 GPA and you're willing to, participate in events and really be active in the chapter, absolutely. Send them our way, get in contact, message our Instagram, anything, and let us know.
Is there anything you have to do once you sign up, or?
So once you sign up, you really don't have to do anything. Essentially, what would happen is that you would, come hang out, be hanging around, and then we would actually take a vote. If it was formal, we would take a vote at the end on all of our class, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you pass that vote, right, you are instantly an associate member. You go straight through the 6-week course, and then after that 6-week course, you get initiated as to a full active member.
Now, I've heard you mention brotherhood and your brothers. Tell us what that means in Greek life. What does that look in your fraternity?
So I would give you 2 definitions, actually. So I would say that your brothers, right, would be realistically anybody in the IFC, right? That's what the Interfraternal Council was formed for, that we're all brothers and we're all part of the same, Greek community, and we all want to be together, right? Now, for brotherhood, I would kind of dial that back into your singular chapter, right? So, we're not going to have a brotherhood, with other groups of individuals and people or other chapters, but instead, that's more for your own chapter, for you guys to really bond and, be a part of something, smaller than something so broad. Because once something gets so broad, then you kind of get lost and say, is this really special, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So as a college student at Eastern Kentucky University, what are some of the positives about being a part of Greek life?
So there's quite a bit, actually. The statistics show that people in Greek life actually have on percentage a higher GPA. You also get a very, very nice social and friend circle that you get to have, You also get a lot of networking. That's one of my biggest things, and that's one of the things I actually take a lot of pride in is meeting new people, making connections to people that, I previously wouldn't have even known, and really getting your name out there. Actually, it is kind of important, though, in that networking is to really make sure that, you have resources on campus as well. Like, let's say I was, struggling with math, and I knew somebody in another chapter that was great at math. I'm a good friend of his. If he was more than willing to help me, that's, a great connection to have. So, yeah, we're like a very, close-knitted community, and we really do try to help out on campus and help our peers, realistically. And it is really nice, and it is definitely worth it.
If I can kind of add on to that a little bit. One of the best things I found about Greek life was, people always talk about college being the best time of your life. And so far, Greek life has not proved that wrong. I've made some of the best friends I'm ever going to have in this world. I mean, Absolutely. Me and Jackson, him and I are hanging out like almost once a week, I want to say, just talking about whatever. And another thing it really gave me was the opportunity to increase my professional skills. Guys, like as a philanthropy chairman, it's, a lot of organizing, a lot of, weekly meetings. Think of it as like a sort of a HR position, except you're not getting paid for it, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of professional skills that I want to say you can acquire anywhere else on campus except through Greek life.
Actually, to add on to that.
Yeah, keep going, guys.
The leadership skills that you build in Greek life are actually, I think, pretty important in terms of, getting into the real world. They've helped me, even in just, getting easy jobs at like a pizza place or something.
Yeah.
Just being able to be well-spoken and, hold yourself to a higher standard is really, really important, I think, for any kind of, person at all.
And you said you come from a small town.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit how it was transitioning to a big Greek fraternity. Was that an easy transition?
So no, it wasn't. Actually, and I was going to bring this up earlier, when I first came to campus, I actually didn't want to be a part of Greek life because of all the, there was some predetermined, thoughts about Greek life, especially from my, hometown. That, you don't want to do that, it's just a bad spot. And I was quickly proven wrong by everybody on campus, especially Phi Kappa Tau. They were fairly small when I joined. I think we had, 13? Yeah, 13 members when I joined. And then we started growing and growing and growing. And then I just kind of, put my flag down and was like, I'm here to stay, So now we're currently at 33 members. We've actually had a large surge of growth in the past, year and a half. Yeah, so it's been really special to be a part of that. Me and Trent are actually founding fathers of the chapter on campus, yeah.
That's wonderful. And so you guys are looking kind of for someone to take that flag and just to keep
Absolutely.
it going,
Yeah,
right?
we need that lineage going forward. Yeah, like all the new guys that we got, we're initiating them today. The 8 new guys, they're already showing like really good leadership skills. They're already being active in committees. They're already wanting to take executive board positions. So that's great to see. That's what you always want in new guys is, being active, being proactive, and wanting to do all that stuff.
What is your vision for the future of your fraternity? Say, once you graduate, what do you hope that people carry on?
What I hope right now, as we just became a new chapter, I want to say new chapter. We were a colony the last 4 years, I want to say.
Yep.
But yeah, we just got founded as a chapter finally. And what I really want to see is every group kind of has their big philanthropy events in the spring and in the fall. Well, typically it's one or the other. I'd like to get a big event going in both. So I know during the fall we have Red and Gold Week, which is a week of like fundraising for serious fun. And right now in the spring we're trying to get that car show. But what I want to really see is a tradition of volunteering and also a tradition of brotherhood, because strong brotherhood is a big part of any chapter. And honestly, if we continue going the way we are now, we're going to have like very, very close brothers. And that's what you really want to see as alumni when they look in and see that you're like acting on all your founding principles of like brotherhood, philanthropy. It's a really good thing to see, and you know that you made a good impact.
Absolutely. To add on to that, we really want our chapter as well as other chapters to grow, and we want to become bigger and bigger on campus. We really want to see more and more community service just going completely forward, like Trent said, and like have those big events with other groups, and other groups have big events, because some people like to try to form it kind of as a competition, to be honest, and it's not at all. It's completely, all charitable, all community service, all philanthropic, yeah, something like that.
Big words.
Big words, yeah. But anyways, yeah, it's all towards a better cause, and there's no reason to, be at ends or, have a knife to somebody's back, as the old saying goes.
Yeah.
So we want everybody to get bigger, and we want everybody to kind of grow.
One thing I do want to say is, he said, obviously, a lot of competition is bad, but, some little friendly competition here or there is not.
Absolutely.
Like, I know we compete in the Theta 500 last fall. Our group did. I think we probably came last. I was on the team, and I am not the most athletic. I'll say that right now.
So tell us a little bit about what that was. What did that look like?
Oh, so this was actually a different group's event. It was basically, I want to phrase this like, kind of like little, those school party games you played in like 8th grade during like your little retreats? What would you call them?
Like in gym class?
Like field, yeah, basically. Yeah, basically.
Fun.
There was a lot of like 3-legged races, and our group was kind of, all the other group members were busy that day, and our fraternity, they all had like X or Y going on. So it's kind of, the people who normally wouldn't sign up for these type of things that are athletic related, like myself and, 3 or 4 other of our guys. Hopefully don't get offended by that. You guys know what I'm talking about. But we all signed up, and honestly, it was a really good time for us. It was just bunch of little party games, had their own point system and everything. It was really fun to learn, and honestly, I had a good time with it. I wouldn't say I'll do it again because it killed me athletically. But we're definitely going to do it again next fall when they do it.
Well, good. It sounds like you had a blast. It sounds like you guys are having fun while doing all these great things for the community. Tell us a little bit about the car show that's coming up. What if there is like people out there that says, "Ooh, I want to get involved. That sounds great." How do they start?
Well, first of all, if you want to get involved in any way, shape, and form, the best way would be to contact our Instagram, or we're going to be sending out flyers. Obviously, they're going to be posted online. We're going to be putting them in local businesses and all that. My contact information is on there, so if you want to contact about any information about the car show, feel free to email me or call me at any time. Well, not any time, obviously. Please respect my sleep a little bit, but yeah. So we also have registration forms for cars. It is about $20 register a car, $40 the day of, just because, we're trying to raise money, obviously, for serious fun.
For a good cause, though.
Yeah, for a good cause. And tickets are, I want to say, $5 a piece for tickets. But yeah, we're still kind of working out a little bit of the kinks here and there. But yeah, if you want to get involved, the best way would just be honestly to show up and spread the word. So when we start posting on our flyers and all that, getting all of our links and information out, the best way to be would just to repost that. And if you know people who are interested with cool cars, have them sign up. We'd love to have them.
That's great. And now, part of being a part of a brotherhood is you can really build close relationships. You guys have had someone that you've kind of lost in that. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple weeks ago, we actually had a past brother who sadly had been murdered. Yeah, and it's been a really hard time for us. We're kind of in turmoil in terms of like how it's going. And all those people close to him, I personally was really close to Dylan. That was his name, Dylan Reyes. But I was really close to him, and it just kind of hurt to see that had happened. His family's actually raising money currently through GoFundMe and for the funeral course, and it's I think the goal's like $15,000.
Yeah.
We've already raised about $4,000, through the community, and then we actually got all the other chapters on campus in Panhellenic, which is the sororities, and the interfraternal counseling on it. So we're hoping to raise enough money for that. Yeah, we're definitely going to miss him. He was a great man, and he was a great friend too. And it's just really sad to see him go, so fast.
Yeah, he really embodied everything I would say what it means to be a brother of Phi Tau. He was always very friendly, very outgoing, never afraid to strike up a conversation, even when I'm just walking around campus at 12 at night because, got to clear my head real quick. I'd always run into him, and we'd always sit down and talk for about an hour. Really lovable guy, and, he's going to be missed.
You have any memories you want to share?
Yeah, well, actually, when I first, he was in my associate class, and when I first came in, he was one of the people that really actually made me feel fairly comfortable, because me and him related to a lot of things, and yeah, he was a very close friend of mine. I don't really have any off the top of my head memories, but yeah, we were definitely close. We'd always get lunch together. We'd always hang out, so it's fairly rough.
Now, guys, if you want to donate to that cause, we will put their GoFundMe link on there if that's something you're interested in doing. And so it's good to hear that you're there for him and his family and carrying on his memory within your brotherhood, within the fraternity, and now you've kind of shared that with our community on campus. So thank you for sharing that. That's great. Now, we will put a link to their Instagram page on this video, so if you guys are interested, go check them out, see what it's all about, and thank you guys for being on The Way It's Told. I'm Christen Gibson, your host for The Way It's Told, a podcast about people and their passions and the way they live that in their lives. You can see more episodes on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Eastern Progress. Thank you again.